1897, there existed a most exclusive and extraordinary gentlemen's club known as the Manticore Club. The first requirement of this club is, of course, that you need to be a gentleman, which is certainly not a requirement in anything we might consider a gentleman's club today. The second requirement, of course, that you be a hunter of most extraordinary game. Now, when I say most extraordinary, I feel that I must elaborate. To the table, let us bring the example of the Eastern Komodo dragon, a fascinating creature, invested of 70% muscle and a capacity to digest 50% of its body weight within a single sitting. To the common man, by its very statistics, such a creature might seem improbable, if not impossible. To the upper crust of the Manticore Club, banal and a bore. Anyone suggesting such common fare for hunting would be blackballed from the club. What then made the cut? What then was considered to be most extraordinary? To this end, several noted naturalists were hired. Among them, one Charles Darwin. It was presumed that if Charles Darwin had the audacity to challenge God, certainly he had the backbone to create a recreational list for the club. But in the end, it was determined that Charles Darwin found infinite varieties of sloths to be most extraordinary, and was blackballed from the club for being banal and a bore. Now, the term blackball is still in use today. However, the actual practice has fallen out of fashion. When grievances were found against a member, a special meeting would be called to order. Each member would march into the club bearing 2 marbles in his trouser pockets, one black, one white. The vase would circulate its way around the room, and each member would reach in secret and produce either marble and drop in the vase. When it reached the front of the room, its contents should be dumped out. Should there be but one black spade of a marble, that member would be blackballed from the club, barred from one's fellows. This is what it meant should one be a member of the Barbaro or the Yerkes Club. For the Manticore Club, it took on special meaning, because that self-same black marble should be loaded into a musket and fired at the offending member from 60 paces. Why a musket? This is 1897 after all. Certainly, a French carbine or a Prussian needle gun might be employed. The need for a musket was twofold. Number 1, tradition from the inception of the club. And number 2, a musket at 60 paces stood very little chance of actually killing a member. But it might maim him, or more importantly, put the fear of God into him. Why was fear necessary? Well, to protect the secrets that the Manticore Club held so close. And what secrets were those? Well, the extraordinary nature of the game in which they hunted, which I still have not told you. In the end, it was determined that anything that was to be predicated by the capital EX's would be suitable fare for hunting. For example, anything predetermined to be extinct, extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, or the other capital, EE, exceedingly evolved. I see looks of doubt on some of your faces. Some of you, derision. Some of you, at this point in time, might be tempted to shout out the word poppycock.
Poppycock.
Go ahead. The Manticore Club dare very dangerous idea. For poppycocks, my friends, who at the Manticore Club hunted best. For what one does with a doubting Thomas is far more dangerous than one might do with a drunken sailor. The fatal cynic was to have his martini drugged. He would be dragged into Lord Stuart Winthrop's balloon and flown high over the Himalayas. Then he would be relieved of his clothing and dropped below and made fair game for the club. Or as Lord Stuart Winthrop so aptly put it, relieved of his dooms. Most members found out the extraordinary nature of the club by having a cigar and brandy in the library with Professor Challenger. They thought themselves keen because they had bagged a rider or two. And then Challenger, he would lean through the smoke and brandy, and he would say, "Of course the might of the rider is quite fearsome, but not nearly so much as that of a premenstrual triceratops before one has had one's coffee." I see looks of doubt on your face again. However can a triceratops be premenstrual? It is not even a mammal. So say you, whose entire knowledge of dinosaurs has been cobbled together with professors playing with birds. I shall suggest you that Professor Challenger had a far more intimate relationship with the triceratops than he would much rather not disclose. Also, I should remind you that at this point in time, almost no one knew what a triceratops was. Well, save the Manticore Club. Nobody. And that's why it was all the more surprising when a Challenger, he would lean against the sliding bookcase and reveal the Manticore Club's private trophy rooms, at the sight of which most gentlemen turned stark white. Then they would excuse themselves to the lavatory, where in the sanctimonium of that sacred space, a gentleman might be permitted to freak out. Then, have they not soiled their trousers, they would return to the library, where they would liberally find that cigar still smoking on the carpet. Challenging, he would return to them, pour them a second glass of brandy, which they inevitably needed, and explain to them the most extraordinary nature of the club.
Okay.
There was one member, despite whatever challenge was levied, his feathers were never ruffled. This man was Little Man Dibbins. When Dibbins first walked, or shall I say walked, into the club, most gentlemen had to laugh. After all, he was less than 4 feet tall and bone-legged. How could a man such as this be expected to ride a horse or carry an elephant gun? As a point of fact, Dibbins did not ride a horse. He rode an ostrich. And this he did with dignity. The gun he strapped to the side, so the big bird took the brunt for the little man. Dibbins proved to be quite an effective hunter. When the Manticore Club returned from Bengal, India for the hunting of Rakshasa, demons invested of animal form, it was Dibbins that returned with the most trophies. Prince Agni Abigas Andu commented on Dibbins' success. Of course, it is not surprising that Dibbins returned with the most trophies. For according to Ramayana, the greatest epic of my people, the Rakshasa were first defeated by monkeys, and Dibbins has a form very close to a monkey. However, it should be noted that the monkeys were victorious, not from their might, not from their cunning, but from their sheer numbers and enthusiasm in breeding. I doubt Dibbins will be granted such an advantage. Agni had cut Dibbins to the quick. It should be noted that while Dibbins was a midget, he was invested with the equipment of an ordinary man. Still, it would do him little good. Romance was not something he would see much of in his life. And so that's why, at this point in time, Dibbins, he swelled up with all the pride that he could muster, and he said, "Exponentially! I can promise you, gentlemen, far bigger game!" How bigger? Professor Challenger took them deep into the lost world to hunt pterodactyls and tyrannosaurs. Dibbins still exclaimed, "Exponentially, gentlemen, far bigger game!" How bigger? John Carter took the Magical Club on a field trip to Mars. Feet on fire and at zero gravity, fighting tentacled moth beasts. Dibbins still exclaimed, "Exponentially, gentlemen, far bigger game!" So you can imagine the curiosity that was brewing amongst the Magical Club on that fateful day when they arrived at Dibbins' mansion in Wessex for the hunt he was to host. They trundled across the lawn, past the hot air balloon that would inevitably deliver them to their destination. There at the door, they were greeted by Dibbins' basset hound. "Tut tut, Dibbins, how like your hounds?" Whilst Dibbins' hounds are being insulted, I feel it an appropriate time to disclose the source of little man Dibbins' wealth. Now certainly he was a gentleman, invested with a fortune from his family. But that fortune was increased through the use of 3 professions. The first, biochemistry. The second, clockwork. And third, and most importantly, the game of chess. Dibbins might have been ranked a master of the game, save one shortcoming. He could not reach his hands across a regulation table. This greatly hampered his endgame. Some opponents would allow him to climb to the table to finish the game. Others would not. He would hear it again and again throughout the course of his career. Gentlemen should not be climbing furniture. And so, he needed to construct an alter ego for the playing of the game. In 1879, there appeared in Piccadilly Square a most extraordinary phenomenon known as the Turkish chess player. Now this was an age of mechanical wonders, but what separated the Turkish chess player above and beyond them all was that this was a machine invested with the ability to think. Could it think? No. It was a puppet. But how could a man fit inside that spinning box of gears? An ordinary man could not, but a midget with judicious use of a mirror certainly could. Dibbins, behind the mirror, he spun the crank with one hand, spinning the gears, and the other arm worked the extension. And he played the machine from Piccadilly Square to Muscling in Cook's Hall of Egyptian Wonders round the free world, playing kings and queens and ministers of state, most notably Otto von Bismarck and Napoleon III. It should be noted he played Napoleon III and not Napoleon II. Otherwise, this might have been the only opponent he might have met eye to eye. The point being, Dibbins was a master of playing the game under the table. And so that's why, at the banquet table, when the question was finally broached, "Tut tut, Dibbins, why will you miss back and he pulled the sash, and the room filled with gas. And all those gentlemen plopped their faces firmly into shrimp cocktail, whilst they scoured the sauce. All those gentlemen had the most extraordinary fantasy, as if they were somehow drowning in cocktail sauce. Was this a fantasy? For when those gentlemen awoke, they beheld 3 phenomena. The first, they had been removed of their clothing. The second, they were coated in cocktail sauce from head to foot. And the third, they were in a lush green veranda. Grass grew higher than in the lost world. They walked for what seemed miles, until they saw a rope of extraordinary size. This was no rope. Or was it? It extended to a tent that might have housed titans. This was no tent. This was a balloon. And by its colours, the self-same balloon that was on little man Dibbin's lawn. But how had it expanded so in size? It was then they bought the heel of little man Dibbin's boot, who was not so little anymore. Exponentially, gentlemen, I can deliver you far bigger. Little man Dibbins, his whole life, had sought to increase his size through the use of biochemistry. In this endeavour, he was not able to succeed, not 1 single inch. However, by a curious accident, he was somehow able to accomplish the reverse. And he could bring down the whole world if he so chose. But Dibbins did not choose to bring down the whole world. He only wished to bring down the gentleman's club that had humiliated him. And so, the minute of checkmate was at hand. Dibbins, he exclaimed, "Release the hounds!" The savage bastards trundled across the lawn and surrounded the Manticore Club. I should like to tell you now how the Manticore Club survived. How John Carter, Alan Quatermain, Lord Greystoke was somehow able to rise above it all. But what I shall tell you is that these noble gentlemen met their end in 3 humiliating tricks. The first, fetch! The savage bastards opened up their gaping maws, issuing a howling wind of dog breath, the like of which has never been known, rendering the Manticore Club unconscious. Then they picked them up in their colossal gummy lips, and they dropped them at the feet of their master. Sit! The savage bastards sat upon the Manticore Club, enfolding them in the sagging skin of their posteriors and suffocating them. And for good measure, Dibbins, he said, "Roll over and play dead." And the Manticore Club were. Dibbins ground up the Manticore Club the next morning for sausage. Sausage which he shared with his ostrich at breakfast. On reflection, it was the best breakfast he'd ever had. and it clearly demonstrates that one can never presume who's to be the bigger man. This next piece we deliver with apologies to Jane Austen. There are some of you likely to find this next tale to be just your cup of tea. Some of you, I'm afraid, will find it to be rather distasteful. Some of you, I'm afraid, will wish that you had never, ever been exposed to the idea. How you find it, or whether you find it, is completely immaterial to us. Dr. Agia and I are confident, in the very least, you will find it to be surreal. Dr. Agia, first year. In 1816, Jane Austen first submitted her manuscript titled First Impressions. The subject which, how a gentleman's character might be misconstrued given insufficient experience. In point of fact, in the title, First Impressions. The first impressions of the publishers was that the title was a boring one, and summarily, the work was never published, if ever read. In 1823, it was resubmitted, given the rather meaty title of Pride and Prejudice. It enjoyed incredible critical acclaim and numerous film adaptations, the profit of which Miss Austen saw none. Curiously, in 1650, the first automated carriage was developed. Now, most of you might have found this curious because most of us believe the first automated carriage should come around 1890. I found the answer to this mystery in Will Goldston's exclusive Magical Secrets. Any conjurer will tell you concerning this volume that it is full of elementary deceptive knowledge and utter pipe dreams. Goldston must have been smoking opium when he mentioned the first automated carriage that was the horseless carriage of all. Rather, was automated, you see, was the chief feature of the male driver. This is important to note because this story is chiefly driven by socio-sexual economic politics. In 1979, a woman first employs a dummy to make use of an HOV lane. Curiously, it was in 1879 a woman would do much the same thing, employing a dummy for a husband to drive through the fast lane of life. In the 21st century, such a woman might be referred to as a gold digger. But in the time of Jane Austen, when a woman could not even be allowed to inherit her own fortune, such a woman must be referred to as ingenious. And so, in our rather Victorian way, of why use one word when 27 will do, we come in point of fact to a rather beefy title of Jane Automatics, Pride and Maintenance. Mr. Alton and had a near brush with his fate, he called his daughter into his chambers to discuss matters of the estate. Jane, please do come in. There is a grave matter that I must discuss with you. Jane, your mother sought as her chief office to introduce to you every eligible young gentleman. In this duty I confess that I have been remiss. And now that I have had a brush with my fate, we are turned to matters of the estate. Jane, this estate is entailed in such a way that I cannot name you as heir unless you are in possession of the requisite equipment which will allow any barrister to recognize you as such. Which is father. A penis, Jane. Sons may inherit property, daughters may not. It's the law. No penis, no property. Father! Oh, Jane, I must apologize for having to be so base as to refer to male anatomy you should not be familiar with until you are married. But I must confess, had your mother a little more education on the subject, she might not have seen mine own member as such a fearsome dragon on our wedding night. In which case, it might have been not so necessary to dismiss such a great many chambermaids. Also, there is the matter of your governess. Father, you mean Kitty? Oh, come, Jane. I didn't dismiss her because she became fat. That's what required me. Jane, the matter of my bastards is neither here nor there. You must secure a husband. But father, I want to marry for love. Oh, come, Jane. The destitute can afford to marry for love. You, above all, have your reputation to consider. Jane, you have been introduced to men of title and officers, yet you will stand with none at balls. Why, Jane? Why? The fact of the matter was that Jane Autumn, to be henceforth referred to as Jane Automatic, was in love with the gardener, Mr. Stevens, a man well below her station. But that did not matter so much, as he was always beneath her window. She admired his form, his countenance, and dare I say it in polite society, his work ethic. She was walking through the well-tended gardens of Mr. Stevens. Well, there, on her doorstep, there was a parcel, 2 meters tall by 1 meter wide. She did not know it was the key to her salvation. Prying it open, she saw, there, in the velvet interior, set inside, rendered in porcelain and brass, was the exquisitely handsome figure of a gentleman in military dress.